Hi and welcome. I'm Caroline Best of the Dow Horsemanship. This is Everything Horses and More YouTube channel and video library. And today, my partner Zor and I are going to be talking to you about this month's video theme: how to ride smart, ride naturally, and ride well. Today is part one, the basics. So Zor and I are gonna show you what I mean by the basics and how we apply the fundamental basics of being a really good rider. How we apply the fundamental basics to one specific exercise, which we're gonna show you in a little bit. So we all wanna enjoy our riding and most of all feel safe. No matter what type of riding you prefer, learning the basics of riding will keep you safe and allow you to enjoy your ride. Doesn't matter what discipline or style, but you gotta know the basics. This month I'm dedicating videos each week to the principles and building blocks, the ABCs of riding smart, riding naturally, and riding well. And what I mean by natural is learning how to ride with your horse's movement, learning how to work with your horse, using your aids, your weight, how to naturally influence your horse. And so we are in a bitless bridle and we are also in a bareback pad. And for those of you that are interested in learning my riding method, this riding method particularly, I am launching a new course called my Beginner Rider course this month. So you can find the link to subscribe to enroll in the description of this video. So I'm going to be selecting one major perspective each week of this month and focusing on what's important to our confidence as a rider so we can create positive learning experiences with our riding partners, our horse. For today's video, Training Success in 5 Minutes or Less, and our first principle, come here, bud. Come here, love. Thank you. Come. Thank you. We'll be focusing on the basics of riding well and how learning how to ride well sets you up for confidence and success. Here are two quotes that I believe explain the importance of knowing the basics, or the ABCs of riding well. And one is from a world-renowned trainer, Buck Brannaman. Buck says, if you miss the beginning, then you are destined to go back and visit the basics. It's that simple. This other author is unknown. A beginner rider wants to work on intermediate horsemanship. An intermediate rider wants to work on advanced horsemanship. But an advanced horseman works on the basics. And I'll explain what that means. So these two quotes have two very important messages. One, you can't progress or move forward in your riding if you don't have the basics, the building blocks. And this includes the principles, the purpose, the technique, and the skill. And skill takes time. And you can't develop skill unless you have all of those ingredients. Number two, if something isn't working in your riding, you've most likely missed a basic or fundamental building block. And I say most likely because too often riders are riding and learning from the wrong horse. So what are the basics to riding and why are they so important? I mean, how many of you just want to get on and ride, right? You just want to get on and ride. You don't want to really learn all these complicated, detailed techniques. But also, my question to you is, how often are you afraid? You lose your confidence. You might get frustrated because your horse doesn't understand, or you as a rider don't understand how to ask your horse or teach your horse. A simple exercise, such as backing up, which we're going to do in a little bit. A simple technique, but not easy, how to steer your horse without yanking and pulling them all over the place. How about feeling safe when you're riding in groups on a trail ride? And you can't control your horse because their nose is up the other horse's butt. Or they can't be in front or in the middle or in the back of a line of riders, a group of riders, because they're too anxious. This is not the time. That builds a lot of frustration for the rider and the horse, and tremendous insecurity and fear for both rider and horse. So the basics, the foundation that I'm talking about for a rider to learn, and we're not even talking about training your horse really, we're just talking about the rider, is so important for you to develop the level of confidence, skill, to feel safe and successful in any type of riding that you're doing. So the basics of riding is the same as a riding foundation. A riding foundation means you have a universal understanding about riding and what that includes. So the universal understanding includes 3 core things. I love you too. Enough. Principles. You got to know the principles of what you're learning. What are the principles? What are the beliefs? Why are you doing it? You have to understand the purpose. And you have to, number 3, know the building blocks. And building blocks are step-by-step exercises. It's not just going out and learning what you want to learn or what you think you're supposed to learn. It's really understanding what you need to learn to feel safe and confident and to ride well and naturally. So the basics also teach you how to progress, how to diagnose and problem solve, and number 3, how to refine. So knowing the principles means you know why you're doing what you're doing. You understand the causality or the cause and effect. You understand why. Knowing the purpose means you understand the big picture, the reason why you're doing it a certain way. So it's like watching Zor and me and saying, wow, I want it to look like that. I want it to be that natural, that fluid, that effortless. I want my horse to be very responsive. You got to see the big picture, and then you learn the steps to achieving that big picture. That's the purpose, the objective, the goal. And last but not least, you know the building blocks to getting from point A to point Z. Building blocks are the tools that we need to put the pieces together, the pieces that are responsible for creating the foundation of knowledge, understanding, and skill. So Zor and I are going to be showing you an example of the basics to one specific exercise, not the basics to the whole foundation of riding. That's in my Mastery Membership program. But the basics to this specific exercise, which is my method of backing a horse. So I'm going to be explaining the purpose or the principles of why I'm backing a certain way, why I teach it this way, the purpose, and then I'm going to show you the building blocks. So remember, make every moment with your horse purposeful and teachable. And before we sign off, what can you do with your horse that 1, creates training success in 5 minutes or less? What can you do? And if you're new to my channel, I've been creating themes for each month this year, and I've been talking a lot each month about how to take what you're learning in my video and turn it into 5 minutes of success or less. So you might need to go and watch some previous videos from the previous months. And number 2, what are you going to do with your horse that starts to build or create a foundation of knowledge, of understanding, skill, so that you can have a partnership with your horse? You don't feel like you're making them do it or you're being forceful. If you would like to learn how, I provide the full-length video in my Everything Horses and More video library. I have hundreds of videos and short courses if you're interested in joining. And I'm going to be releasing soon this month my new course called the Beginner Rider Course. And it's going to specifically set you up with a really strong riding foundation. So I hope you join me. And may you always be one with your horse. All right. So I'm getting myself adjusted here. I'm on my big moose Zor. And we are going to show you my backing up method.